Midtown fans? We're here at Midtown Comics Downtown with the amazing, legendary, artistic, and writing duo of George R.R. Martin and Raya Golden. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you, and I know you guys made a lot of fans really happy today. They just killed an enormous line super fast, and did a great job, guys. So
thanks.
So I just kind of want to ask you guys about your process, because obviously creating so many different aliens, what kind of conversations did you have about that, and how much freedom, like how much instruction, George, did you give to Ray?
Well, this was originally written as a television script, and when I do television scripts for a screenwriter or a television writer, I'm unusually descriptive. I like to give detail, maybe because of my background as a novelist and short story writer. So there are descriptions in the script, but Raya picked those up and ran with them and introduced many of her own touches and changes, and then introduced in the background various alien races that I'd never mentioned. Just say, yeah, there's a lot of weird aliens in the background. So.
And for the main ones that he had mentioned before, I showed him the sketches and we discussed it just to make sure it was in the right direction. But aside from that, he gave me really awesome creative freedom throughout.
So I kind of just want to ask you guys about the origin of Starport. Like, can you walk me through, George, where you came up with the concept and how you came to be involved in the project?
Well, as I said, I wrote it back in the early '90s, and I was working primarily in Hollywood at that time. I'd been on staff on Twilight Zone, the revival in the late '80s, and then Beauty and the Beast. And then I had, for about 5 years, I had various overall deals, or development deals, as they called, where I was making up pilots for my own shows and hoping they would, be shot as pilots and go. And Fox, at the time, had just canceled the show Alien Nation, which was had been created by my friend Rockne O'Bannon, who I'd worked with on Twilight Zone. And they were looking for a new science fiction show. So I met with them, and of course, being a science fiction writer, and I was wanted to know what they wanted. And they said, well, yeah, we want a new science fiction show, but we want something that's based, that's contemporary. We don't want Star Trek or Star Wars. We don't want to have to go, thousands of years in the future. And we don't want, alien planets. We want something set on contemporary Earth. And I remember submitting it to Fox and having a meeting with them where they told me that they had decided not to do it. And I said, well, we really liked it. It had a lot of great things in it, but there are too many alien races. They're very confusing. Couldn't we just have one alien race? And I said, didn't you just cancel Alien Nation, which had one alien race? Oh, yeah, we did do that. And then when I started working with Raya, she did another book of mine called Meat House Man, based on one of my sickest and most twisted stories.
It was his idea.
No, it was her idea.
His idea.
I said, you can have any of my stories, and she picked the sickest, most twisted one, yeah. And she did a wonderful job with that, so we wanted to do something a little bigger, and came up with Starport. And I handed it off to her, and she picked up the ball and ran with it.
I did most of the initial work. We adapted it with his editor, Ann Grohl, and then, I did all the layouts and really just showed him what the characters were going to look like, make sure they were on the right path, make sure the starport itself looked right. Threw by most of the changes, the big changes that we wanted to do, because we had to bring some of the stuff up a little bit further to the future, because we wanted to make it.
You left the '90s jokes in
I
there.
did.
The 90s references and the '90s jokes I really love.
Well, I wanted to give it I wanted to keep it that feel.
She took out all my VHS jokes.
I did.
So they say that art reflects life, obviously, and a little piece of yourself goes into any project that you work on. So is there a piece of Starport that you can point to and say that's kind of a little bit of me, whether it's a choice of colors or a character specifically that you feel
For me, because we had two separate versions of the script. One was a lot more intense and, like Law and Order, serious. Another one has this character in it that I really liked. His name's Stacko. I drew him basically like a 7-foot minotaur who dresses like He-Man. Yeah!
And he's the human fan, right?
Yes, he's fans of human. Yeah. So it was him and his lines and the lines that George did for him. I took extra time to combine the two scripts just so we could have Stacko because he's so much fun.
He was my
so
favorite
much fun.
Yeah, 100%.
And if we continue, he'll have more things to do.
As you said, I back in the 90s, I did 2 drafts of this script before Fox made its decision. And the first script, as virtually everything I do in the 90s or today, was too long and too expensive. So they had me cut it. And one of the things I cut out was Stacko, so he's not in the second draft. But I showed Raya both drafts, and she insisted I put him back in. And I'm glad we did. He is a fun character. He's yes, he's the alien, and that's another race, because Stacko is not part of the any 5 races we named. Yeah. I don't think there's anyone in there who's specifically me, but, I quite like Stam, the most obnoxious of the human cops who, cigar-smoking, crude, foul-mouthed, has, epithets for everyone. But he's hilarious, and I like that. And of course, everybody else, he's a pain in the butt to everybody else, all of his coworkers. No one wants to partner with Stam, but he was so much fun to write.
We hope you had as much fun here as we had having you.
So much fun.
And thank you to all the fans out there watching. We'll see you next time.
Loves the infants.